Hello, viewer. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time of the day you are listening to me. If you haven't met me before, I am Dr. Austin Oshike, a family physician, the medical director of Armstrong Hospital. I'm someone with serious passion for helping people with their health because they say health is wealth, but I beg to disagree with that to an extent. Health is far, far more than wealth. We've seen someone who, because he doesn't want to touch part of his money, that will reduce his wealth to something below. And he decided not to face his health issues. And he died, leaving the huge wealth behind. And guess what? Others that never knew how he made the money, spent it lavishly. So regardless of whatever you're going through, whatever your belief is about life and health, please do not compromise your health. This is very, very important. And based on this, I want to give you some very powerful information concerning health issues. Sorry, you might hear some noise at the background. Some construction work is going on, and some noise are coming. In fact, I had to help them out in some areas. I handled shovel, to move sands and all that. So please ignore that, and I believe the production will still be fine. Because this is urgent for me, I have to do this right now. So I like to give you some very important facts about health, and you'll be shocked that some of the things you have been hearing before now as very important and vital to your health will not fall under this list. And I'll explain why. You'll find out that exercise is missing in this list, sleep is missing in this list, and also sex. At the end, I will tell you the reason why they might be missing in this list, because this list is compiled by WHO. It's not Dr. Austin that compiled this. But of course, I've seen many compilations and I throw them off. I do not take them seriously. I select the ones that are okay. But it's so shocking that this compilation is a recent thing and contains a lot of stuff there, yet sleep is not mentioned, exercise is not mentioned, and sex is not mentioned. So here we go. Number one on the list is eat a healthy diet. Of course, I do not need to stress too much. We all know what healthy diet is. Back those days in primary school, they teach us about a balanced diet, carbohydrates, protein, minerals, water, oil, fat and oil, and all the likes. Okay, so when you eat balanced diet and you're conscious of what you eat, you do not eat what has toxins, what is well prepared, definitely you are eating a healthy diet. Of course, we know eating fruits constitutes more of healthy diet than other food elements like meats and all the likes. Okay, the second on the list is consume less salt and sugar. We cannot overstress this. In fact, sugar is the worst of it. I tell you, some sugar have been tested to even found to have some poisonous elements like mercury, but let's not even go as far as mercury. Sugar in its own, being refined, our bodies don't really handle it very well and can undermine one's health and even eventually lead to diabetes. But doesn't mean when you take sugar, you get diabetes. No, your health has to be compromised by many other factors. And once the cells are weak, your B cells from the pancreas are weak, you might end up with diabetes. The third on the list is reduce intake of harmful fats. Of course, we know those fats that are harmful and the ones that are not harmful. You can do your research because it's a little bit, there's some information involved in it that will take some time, but just know that there are some, especially like saturated fats, may not be that healthy. Okay, so avoid harmful use of alcohol. When they say harmful use of alcohol, when you get drunk, it's not good. It has negative effect on your liver and your entire health. besides, alcohol will reduce your immune system. It reduces the strength of your immunity, and it gives room to so many things, coming to attack your system. And the next is the fifth one, which is don't smoke. There is no reason to smoke at all. Forget about some excuses people have for some health reasons. Some people take cannabis that has some positive elements and all that. Anyway, that requires some deep thinking. Even though there might be softening of some conditions depending on the individuals involved, by and large, if you're not given to that kind of lifestyle, definitely you shouldn't try it at all. Of course, the same way alcohol will undermine your immune system is the same way smoke will do to your system. Then we talk about be active. Now, I want to clear here because I mentioned exercise earlier. Exercise is a good thing, but I want to tell you that back those days, our forefathers really never did exercise. They were only active, and they were active 24/7. They trek to their farms, they get to the farm, they walk. After that, they trek back, they get home, they take care of the house, they do all these things constitute activity. And when you are active, you're not a lazy person. Like I saw them, I mentioned earlier, people were walking out there, and I joined them, and we were like, Dr. Austin, no, give us the shovel. I said, no, get out. And when they saw me perform, they said, no, you got some real experience in that. Of course, that reveals the fact that, yes, I had some hard times, while growing up. Of course, it's another story for another day. So when you are active, you really don't need exercise. Exercise will be necessary when you don't do so many things that you should be doing. For instance, when I'm home, I get to do so many things for myself. I don't have to ask, oh, do this for me, you do that for me. Even when I wash my clothes, and when I give my clothes out to be washed, I do them because there are other things I'm doing that if I wash those clothes, I will not have time to do those things. So activity is the watchword, not exercise, okay? But when you eat anyhow, you do a lot of stuff and things like that, maybe you may need some exercise, because you're not active, you're not doing anything. That's just it. Okay, then check your blood pressure regularly. They say hypertension is a silent killer. It is very important that you check your blood pressure regularly because the process that takes place to undermine your health is usually silent. Usually by the time you start having symptoms, damages are done to an extent. Before test results shall start showing that you have liver problems, kidney problems, and all that, I assure you more than half of the cells are facing serious troubles. And that's why these cells are showing those, bad evidences of problems, okay? So it's important that you check your blood pressure. And I tell you, blood pressure is tied to kidney health. A lot of people have experiences with our health that we call malaria, we call typhoid, but I tell you on a serious, without fear of contradiction, that whenever your health, your BP is rising, you should please check the health of your kidney. If your kidney has issues, it can become hypertension eventually. So also the reverse is possible. If you have hypertension, your kidney can start getting destroyed by the high blood pressure. So it's a vice versa thing. Anyone could come before the other. If you need more information on that, you can try to get to me to further elaborate on that, or you can comment, down there, ask your questions. Okay. The eighth item is get tested. It is important you get tested. Do medical checkup. A lot of people will say, what's the need for test? I feel good, I feel great. In fact, I feel so happy. I have all the energy to do all things. Yes, but when cells are getting damaged in your in your body, they do not manifest at early stage. The destruction would have gotten to an extent before they start manifesting, and maybe we start thinking in the test. So test is a way of knowing ahead of time that something is a little bit out of balance. Let me say this for some corrections or advice rather, and this goes to the medical experts. Usually you notice that when you run lab tests, there's always a range that is given. Let's give an example. Blood sugar test. You run your blood sugar test and you found a particular figure. Let's say, for instance, here, the figure is 105. Okay. If you look at the range of normal fasting blood sugar, it is between 65 to 115. Okay. If it crosses 126, consideration of diagnosis of diabetes is being considered. Okay. So you run your blood sugar test and you see 105, and you are told that, oh, your blood sugar is normal. Yes, is normal with a clause. Patients or clients that I attend to that come to me, and I find such results with them. First, I want to ask what they ate. If what they ate could justify why that blood sugar is a little bit, it is at that level. Why I'm mentioning this is because if you observe very well, you notice that it is closer to 115. Okay, that it shouldn't go beyond your fasting blood sugar. The fact that it has not gone beyond 116 and is at 105, it needs to be looked at. It shouldn't be ignored. You don't send such people away. Tell them that, yes, your blood sugar is okay, but you're not too comfortable with it. Who knows? You come back next time, we might be seeing at 115, 120, 130, 200. Is that when we'll begin to take action? So there are some there are some school of thoughts that consider pre-diabetes. And pre-diabetes is a situation where you're not diabetic, but they begin to see some signs of, pending imminent diabetes or pending diabetes. Okay, and I would say someone with a steady one of above 100 should be careful. I'm more comfortable with a fasting blood sugar of 60, 70, 80, even 90. This experience is the best teacher. If you want to contest this, I've used myself as a guinea pig. I have studied my system. Wherever I'm most healthy, and I follow the rules of healthy living, and I do not eat anyhow, and I do all the things. My blood sugar is, fasting blood sugar is around 60, 70. But when I give myself to eating anyhow and all that, it goes to 90. So definitely it's a reflection of the fact that the best is not happening in my system. Remember we mentioned earlier, eating healthy fats and all that. They all have impacts on our health. Okay. The other one I would like to mention, sorry, let me conclude this. For such people, I tell them that diabetes may be possible. So please start preventing it. This is the right time. Be conscious of what you're eating. Be conscious of your activity. You think you need exercise because you're not active enough. Fine. But if you're active enough, your work and all that. By the way, exercise, well, I'll tell you more about that when it goes there. Okay. So the next on the list is get vaccinated. Yes. We kind of emphasize this. In fact, all children from birth till 5 are under this EPI, is a global immunization program, vaccination program for children, and every child born around this period, even decades back, usually go through all this. And I'm sure all mothers listening to me or some fathers are aware of this as part of vaccination. And what does vaccine do? It introduces the ineffective or dead element of dangerous, viruses or organisms that could be would be vaccine preventable into your system. Your system recognizes those enemies as those agents as enemies and develop soldiers to destroy them. So once that is done, whenever the real ones get into your system, your system doesn't know which one is dead or alive. Of course, the soldiers that have been developed by your system will destroy them. So they use the incapacitated organism to build your system, because that incapacitated organism is safe. It will not cause damage to your system because it has been incapacitated one way or the other. Some of them are killed. Oral polio vaccine is one of them. Measles vaccine, mumps, rubella, and all that. There are some of them. Okay. We presently have a COVID-19 vaccine, which we all are aware of. So get vaccinated for prevention. But when it comes to COVID-19, there's a lot of hula value about it, and I want to reserve my comments about that. If you want further information on that, you may meet me privately. Okay. The next one is practice safe sex. Now, notice that we say practice safe sex. Remember, I mentioned that sex was not mentioned outrightly as you need to have sex to be healthy. No, practice safe sex. And it appears I will find myself explaining these three issues, sex, sleep, and exercise, before I even get to their point. Okay, so let me use this opportunity to talk about the sex. Why? And we do not recommend that. We do not just give an advice that no, be having regular sex and all that, as most people would tell you to live healthy. No, you practice safe sex. The reason why it is important to practice safe sex is because sexually transmissible infections are there. If you not practice safe sex, you could expose yourself to some of these infections, and that can mess your life up. The other thing about practicing safe sex is you do not want to, incur unwanted pregnancy. So you want to practice safe sex, so to say. But why are we not saying, oh, have sex? No. The reason is this: if you follow all these healthy rules and your body is healthy, you understand, somebody would even be trying to calm your sexual drive down because it's going to be top notch. It's like a punishment. You don't need to be advised to have sex. No. If you do not have the libido that you should have and all that, is not, the advice shouldn't be the way of go and have sex. No. You want to address those health issues that are making you not have good libido and, perform your sexual responsibilities or have the normal erection that you should have. I want to tell you that 90% of men do not know how to handle their wives, sexually. It's a topic that I think is very, very important. I want you to comment on the comment on the section area if really you think I should talk on sex, because a lot of homes are broken today because of sex-related issues. Unfortunately, some of them don't even know that their problems is born out of the fact that their sexual life is not okay at all, because depression could set in when sexual activities that should be ongoing are not really going the right way. Okay, let me just drop that down. So like I said, if you want to get a talk on sex such a way that you can put an end to your sexual problems, please indicate that. Okay, and don't forget to share this, please, to other people so that they can hear. And I would like you to also subscribe to this so that next important videos you could get them even without them being sent to you. Okay, so the next one is cover your mouth when coughing or sneezing. Please, this is key. This is very important. I know what I do even before COVID-19 came, even before SARS-2 and all that came. Anytime I'm about to sneeze, there's this common, this is on the lighter mode now. We used to say when you sneeze, you render, billions of bacteria homeless. And when you do that, they get homes. They are homes in other people's system. So you want to help with this. And what do? You want to make sure that you prevent whatever you are sneezing out of the system out there. So you do this, but I won't go beyond that. What I do is I turn back, face where people are not. And sometimes I squat and I sneeze. I've been doing this, that has been part of me. If I suspect I'm about to sneeze and I'm in a meeting, I turn back, face another direction, and cover myself, I sneeze. Please, if anybody is listening to this video, I will want this to be adopted. It's not enough to cover your nose or all that. You need to turn around and probably face down, okay? So that whatever you sneeze out can sneeze this. I've not heard this from anybody. It is my own policy. And if anybody has heard this anywhere, please, I would like to know. Because I've given some advice that came from me and eventually got adopted, globally or nationally without a credit to me. I've said it oftentimes, but here is my advice. So for this reason, share this video. And Dr. Austin is suggesting this. And if you have anything against it, you let us know. Of course, you may not always be successful at turning back and squatting and doing all that because of the way it comes. If it is too spontaneous and time does not allow you to do that, you're excused. Do this. Fine, okay? But if you have enough time, please turn around. Don't face where people are, then face down. I hope that is well taken. Thank you very much. Of course, I want to talk about prevent mosquito bites. Very important in African countries and maybe some other countries, though there are some mosquitoes that give health issues outside malaria. Okay, so when you prevent their bites, and I go by extension, I also prevent the bites of other insects. Those who live in areas where you have SSFly and sleeping sicknesses endemic there, it's important they also prevent the bites from, SSFly. So it goes way beyond just preventing mosquito bites. Prevent anything from biting you. Prevent snake bites. Prevent dog bites. Prevent every bite, okay? I hope that is well taken. So follow traffic laws. If you are a driver today, it is important that you follow traffic laws. They are meant to keep you safe. And when you are safe, accidents will be low, so you can be more healthy. Of course, you can't imagine what the experience of someone who has a fracture on his leg or has a head injury and all that is what the person is experiencing. So it's part of what you require to be able to follow traffic rules. Even you are protecting both yourself and other people, because there are other people that are following traffic rules. When you don't follow it, you cause trouble for them. Okay, want to talk about drink only safe water. Yes, I'm sorry to say that there are some areas, really worrying areas now, when they are forced to go to places where they're forced to live the life they are not meant to live. Therefore, some of them even drink urine. People that are stranded in the wilderness, maybe after shipwreck and things like that, just drink any kind of water and all that. But when you are in a place, at home, of course, life is going on normal. Please be conscious of the water you drink. And the more bottled water you take, breakable bottled water you take, the better. The more plastic, water you take, plastic bottled water you take, the worse. So because plastic is not good for our health. Need more information on that, you can let me know. Okay, then we want to talk about breastfeed babies from 0 to 2 years and beyond. So the advice is that you should breastfeed your babies as long as 2 years. In the past, the days of our grandparents and all that, breastfeeding lasts up to 3 years and even more. Of course, today we encourage exclusive breastfeeding, which is breastfeeding without adding any other thing, no water, no supplementary foods, no pap, no baby formula for the first 6 months. After the first 6 months, if the baby can't be sustained on breast milk alone, you can introduce other supplementary feeds. And of course, we have our working mothers who want to go back to work on time, so they just have to run their babies as soon as possible. So sometimes up to a year, they may suck with their mothers maybe once or twice a day. That is allowed. So exclusive breastfeeding is advised, and if it's a full housewife, of course, as much as possible, it can be added to. Okay. Then you want to talk to someone you trust if you are feeling down. You know, life is full of ups and downs. And sometimes you can't tell why this is happening. Sometimes you can tell because maybe you lost a job, maybe somebody jilted you, maybe there's something you've been pursuing and you missed it. Maybe you've graduated for a long time, and or your partner is not giving you, is abusing you. A lot of things happen. Okay, you don't just feel happy about the situation of your country and insurgency, insecurity. You are just down. Sometimes you really can't tell what is going on. Maybe something is happening up there. You confide in someone, meet someone you trust, and have a discussion. Usually somebody older than you, somebody you trust and who likes you, and you think you can open whatever your concerns are. Somebody is owing you some money, but is not paying you. Rather than taking things, get an advice. If you can't even get anybody, you can go to public places. There are counselors here and there. You can even go as far as police station. Please, I need an advice. This is what I'm going through. I need help. You can go to your pastor. You can go to your imam. Don't just leave it to yourself, because when you do that, a lot of things can begin to get out of hands. And that's where sometimes suicidal attempts begin to cook up. Okay? So very, very important. Do not keep things. They say problems shared is half solved. Okay? Then take antibiotics only as prescribed. Yes. In my country today, I don't want to mention my country, okay? In my country today, self-medication is the in thing. In fact, over 70, 80% of the population do self-medication. What do I mean by this? I don't want to say 90 or 99%, 70, 80% of the people do self-medication. What do I mean by this? They try to treat themselves at home. If they're not feeling well, some of them use local means like herbs and all that. Some of them go to the pharmacy, buy drugs. Some of them, when they they're not even sure, no idea of what is going on, and they are lost totally. Going to the hospital is still a challenge. Still go to the pharmacy and begin to lay their complaints to them as if they are medical doctors. You can't say this happened in America, for instance. I'm sure those pharmacists will go to jail for playing the role of a doctor, because they should give to that patient whatever their doctors have prescribed to them. Okay, so that's quite important. Self-medication is bad because some of these drugs, they have contraindications. They have, reactions. They have side effects. They have things. You might be having a condition that could make those drugs harmful to you. That's why some people these days will sleep and not wake up. Some people will just have kidney failure. For instance, Tylenol, of course, paracetamol is what we call it in Nigeria here. I mentioned my country. I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that, okay? Paracetamol is a poison to the liver. It's good for pain relief, okay? It's a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. When you have headaches, you have pains and all that, it helps you with that. But too much of it leads to liver damage. There's a process there is a process, there's a pathophysiology to that, okay? Because it conjugates with glutathione, and glutathione, when it's run down in your liver begins to lose its ability to sustain itself, and there can be serious damages to it, okay? Because glutathione is the best antioxidant. So we also have issues with resistance. When you take too much of antibiotics that are not prescribed, okay, you could help to groom resistant bacteria. In other words, if I take drugs that inappropriately to treat a particular organism inside me, that particular organism over time gets used to the drug within me, and it cannot respond to that drug. So if that same bacteria infects another person, that person will take the drug that I took, and that person won't get results. So it's becoming a global threat, a serious global threat, such that we are afraid that one day organisms will not respond to treatment anymore because of resistance. So please follow the rules of prescription. Then clean your hands properly. It is very, very important. You wash your hands. At least COVID-19 has taught us that. I don't really need to dwell too much on that. Then you want to prepare your food correctly. Please, it's not about putting food in fire and putting water, salt, and you cover it. There are ways to prepare your food. Mind you, there are things you are taking into your system. They should contain the appropriate quantity and nature of nutrients. In other words, when you overcook certain things, they become useless. When you undercook certain things, they become harmful to you. So you need to know how to cook some of these things, because to cook meat and fish require different periods of time. To boil egg require less time. So there are some things that don't even really need to experience. You get this advice. So you get this advice from those caterers. They know more about this. So learn how to cook whatever you're cooking appropriately and correctly. Very, very important. So that you will not be eating bland as food. Bland means something that's the nutrients are dead, they're not useful to your system. Then have regular checkups. We talked about testing earlier. You may want to confuse it with regular checkups. No, testing is a situation where something is wrong with you. You don't just jump into solution. You want to know what that thing is. And that's where testing comes in, okay? But then, of course, you test so many things. We test for COVID-19, right? We test for malaria, okay? We test for TB. We test, so when you have symptoms, you want to test why, what is the symptoms? It's different from regular medical checkups. Regular medical checkups constitutes several tests just to know that you're okay. This time around, you're perfect, nothing is wrong with you. Your health is amazing, yes, but you want to ensure that you don't have issues. So every month, no, not every month, sorry. Every year, maybe once in a year, you want to run all the tests, or every 6 months. Some countries make it mandatory, but my country has not made it mandatory. So I hope we'll look into that. I know there's some costs that go into it, okay? But prevention is still cheaper and better than cure. So you can go into this regular checkup. Some people have taken it upon themselves. Like for me, every year I do regular checkup. I do all the necessary tests every year. I've not done that this year. It appears I didn't do that last year. But since 2010, I've been doing them, every year till last year. So, and somehow maybe because of activities here and there, I was conscious of it, but I ended up not doing it. But I'm sure I'm not going to miss that of this year. sometime around 2014, I found out that my liver was showing some bad signs. And when I investigated, I noticed I was eating too much of granola, and that was what was going to give me a fatty liver disease, because I could finish a bottle of granola at a go, you know, but I was still feeling great. The test that I did regularly showed that something is happening to your liver. So, of course, we also know aflatoxin is connected to granola. Some people will not even take granola because they think it could be infected with aflatoxins, and these are the things that could affect your liver. So I cautioned myself. In fact, I abstained from granules for a while, then went back to it still little. By the following year, I repeated the test, and boom, I was perfect. And that is what regular checkup is meant to do for you. Detect what is getting out of place sometimes so that you can take steps to prevent the problem. So having said this, I believe I've addressed the sex and exercise stuff. But the part that is left unaddressed that was not mentioned here is sleep. I know there's a video I made, and I stress the fact that people should stop talking about making noise about sleep. You have to sleep 8 hours, you have to sleep 7 hours, you have to sleep 6 hours, and all that to be healthy. No, please, don't misquote me, don't misunderstand me. Sleep is a good thing. Yes, you should sleep, okay? You should sleep to satisfaction. You should sleep to the point that your system is well refreshed, okay? But this comes naturally. You don't have control over it. It comes naturally. The night naturally makes you feel like sleeping at night. And that's why the sun goes over. So if you notice that sleep is not coming, something is definitely wrong somewhere. That is the stuff you should go and address, not focus on the sleep. For instance, I just told you about myself. I had, some evidence of liver issues, okay? And I investigated. If I'd not done that, over time, sleep will be taken away from me. And I'll be at night, I cannot sleep. And I'll be wondering what is going on. Then the next thing, I'll be taking pills to make me sleep and things like that. Before you know it, I start telling people, if I can get sleep. And that's what some people do. They pursue sleep to the point that they sleep and don't wake up because they enforced it on themselves without recourse to what could have caused it. So don't misquote me. If you live healthy, you are active enough, you do all the necessary things, you will sleep like a baby. If you eat the food you should eat, let me tell you, you that might be listening to me now that has not slept for a while, I want to challenge you today. Just jog for like maybe 30 minutes and tell me if sleep will not come knocking on your door by 7 p.m. tonight. So with this said, I want to thank you for listening to me. It's been a very wonderful time with you. Yes, once again, I'm Dr. Austin Osheke, a family physician, the medical director of Armstrong Hospital. My passion is to see people live healthy because I'm getting fed up. I'm getting tired of people dying. And they're dying ignorantly because nobody is paying attention to what is wrong. They think it's a spiritual attack. There's this syndrome or phenomenon, rather, I would call it. People having, things like stroke, serious diabetes, hypertension, or serious ailments that is incapacitating them and eventually killing them around the time they are having the capacity to start enjoying the fruit of their labor. And it's not unusual for people to think that, oh, those bad people at the village are now coming to take their lives because it's time for them to start enjoying. So I think you've been able to get one or two things from what I've said. If you have any question, any comment, or whatever you want to say concerning this video, I'll be glad if you can go to the comment section and make it known. And I'll also be glad if you can subscribe to this channel so that subsequently videos that are made, you can get them and you can share with others. I'm sure you're going to share this video to your friend to your family members, to your parents, to your sister. Just let people know this. Let them know about their health. Till I come your way, I want to ask you to have a very wonderful time today. Bye-bye.